Hey, it's Jacqueline here. And probably like most other realtors throughout the community and Canada right now, I'm constantly being asked exactly what is happening in the real estate market. I'm having a lot of conversations with clients, family members, and friends in terms of exactly what's going on in the market and whether or not we have cause to be concerned as it relates to COVID 19. So, with that in mind, I wanted to take a few minutes just to talk about exactly what is going on in the real estate market. So in front of me, you'll see in terms of an overall update as it relates to specifically sales in Northumberland County since the news dropped of the essential services list. And as I talked about before, although real estate is still considered an essential service, we have been told by our regulatory bodies to only show properties and meet people in person when absolutely necessary. So what that has resulted in as it relates to real estate is that only buyers that are in a position in which they need to purchase or sellers that are in a position in which they need to sell are going to be working in terms of throughout the real estate journey at this point in time. So with that in mind, we would expect right now to see a fairly large reduction in terms of the overall number of sales as well as the overall number of new listings. And the last few weeks has certainly been the case. So if you look at the first week, just at the end of March there, after the essential service list came out, you'll see that there is a total of 20 sales, which is the blue bar, compared to 19 new active listings. So those are 19 new homes that have come on the market in Northumberland. Now, it's not too surprising to see that that number isn't exactly a low number. It's fairly comparable to what we would expect to see that time of the year. And part of the reason for that is that those were people that were probably already in a position in which they were planning to go to the market that week or they had already purchased. So in Northumberland, it's actually still very common that most of our offers are contingent on financing as well as inspection for 5 to 7 days. So when we see a house sell on our system, or firm up is the term that we often use, that's often coming 5 to 7 days after the initial contract has been signed. So again, the first week we're really seeing in terms of kind of a carryover from sales that likely took place the previous week. In the first 2 weeks, you'll see that we saw 19 new listings as well as 18 the following week. Again, these are probably people that were in a position in which they were already planning to go to the market and had a reason to continue to do so. So I can speak from my personal experience that I've had a number of listings go up over those 2 week period of time. And again, those were for the most part sellers who had already purchased or were in a position in which they needed to sell, and we were already lined up ready to go in the market with photography and everything in place. Now, the following 2 weeks, you'll see in terms of the number of sales, we're 11 each week, which again is a fairly large reduction in terms of what we would typically see this time of year, but again, somewhat expected. Now, what we started to see is overall pickup in terms of the number of overall sales. So in terms of the number of new listings, that's still down. And again, in terms of people that are in a position in which they need to list their house aren't doing so. So not surprising to us to see those numbers. But what we have started to see is an overall increase in terms of buyers. And what I mean by that is that although we're not seeing a significant increase in terms of the number of transactions, as we're still limiting people from physically going into homes as much as we can, we are starting to see a number in terms of increase of requests for showings, as well as viewings online. So the last 2 weeks, the viewings online on my website, as well as realtor.ca, have certainly been up significantly. And it's not surprising, a lot of people are sitting home right now, fairly bored, and reevaluating where they call home. So it's only natural that people will be having conversations thinking, you know, is this house too big? Is this house too small? Maybe I need a little bit more property. Maybe I need a little bit more space for my kids. And they're going to realtor.ca or social media and starting to kind of look and see what else is out there as it relates to real estate. Now, the line that you'll see just on the top there is the average sale price. Now, when we look at that, I always express caution, especially in a community as small as Northumberland. We only saw a total of 78 homes sell over this entire period of time that we're looking at here. So as a result of that, that number can be very skewed depending on exactly what happened to sell that week. So in some of those weeks, we saw $1 million sale or an upper end sale, and we're going to see that price up as a result of that. And in some weeks, we might have seen, 2 to 3 homes sell in the lower price point. So again, when we're dealing with such a small number of sales, that number is going to go up and down pretty significantly based on nothing more than maybe 1 or 2 sales that have brought it to, either a higher end or a lower end figure. But the good news overall is what we're seeing is that the values have actually remained stable. So when we look back to April 2019 in comparison to this period of time, we're actually still up. So in terms of overall, we're up about 6% as it relates to the average sale price. So again, we're expecting that we're going to see sales be slower, overall listings be slower, as we should be. but the average sale price in Northumberland has actually continued to remain quite strong, which is great to see. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm getting a lot of calls from people right now that are concerned about the place they call home and overall their real estate investments. And I understand that in terms of for a lot of people, especially seniors, this is your nest egg. And there's a lot of reason in terms of people are talking in the media, people are talking in terms of kind of hearing what people and friends and family have to say. And there's a lot of people that are providing false and misleading information. I always say the media isn't paid to provide facts, they're paid to sell newspapers or, in terms of online viewership. So they're going to lead with articles that get people talking, that get people reading, and get people clicking. So as it relates to real estate, I always like to say to people, and the best way I can explain it is that it is a unique asset because yes, it's an investment, but there are other two key components as it relates to real estate that makes it unique. It's durable and it's consumable. And what I mean by that in terms of that real estate being durable is that it lasts over time. So unlike something like a new sports car or an RV that you purchase, that asset is going to start to depreciate the second that you drive it off the lot. And as we all know, if you buy a nice fancy sports car 5 years ago, it's not worth anything close to what it is today. Real estate is very different in that sense, is that your home is designed to stand the test of time. It is a structure that is built to last. The second key component of real estate is that it is consumable. And what I mean by that is that you can use it. So unlike a stock portfolio, which is really just in essence a piece of paper, it can't shelter you from the wind. It can't be a roof over your head. It can't be a place that you call home and spend time with your family. So when it comes to real estate, those are really two key components to consider in addition to it being an investment. And as it relates specifically to Northumberland real estate, I don't think we have anything to be concerned about. I traded real estate in 2008 to 2010 during the recession. And even during that period of time, we actually still didn't see real estate decrease in value in Northumberland. So even at its worst, we were going up about 3 to 4% a year. So this year we may not see those double-digit numbers of appreciation, but I certainly don't think we're going to see anything as it relates to a depreciation of real estate in the county. The other thing that makes us very uniquely positioned for when things start to simmer down and people start to open the market back up again in terms of seeing more real estate transactions is, I said earlier, people are really evaluating where they call home right now. There's a lot of people in townhomes, condos, and in urban condensed areas really rethinking where they call their place to live. Do you want to be, in the big smoke as they call it, or do you want to be in Northumberland County? I, for one, have always said life is better here. We're surrounded by amazing people in this community who have done so much good work in taking care of one another during this period of time. And I've already started to see the phone calls come in and online inquiries to a lot of people that are really starting to rethink maybe Northumberland might be the place for them. As always, if you have any questions, you can call me anytime, drop me a DM or text me directly at 905-375-0062. You don't have to be in the market to buy or sell. If you just want honest, good advice, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you. As always, stay safe and take care.